discussed up to here, up to the screen.
Yeah, so team, are there any questions up to the screen where he configured certain parameters? I know this was covered yesterday, where he selected the like the temp directory, then any reference jar files text field was explained, then where do you mention about the Python library and all of that, type being Spark. Any question from Ram, Lok, or Anush on this part, or anyone else on the team? This first page of the glue job.
Uh, Navin, could you please, repeat again this step? I mean, this data source.
Yeah, it is already recorded, right? You can see that recording.
Yeah, if you scroll to the top, Naveen, let me just do this in like 10 seconds. So the first one which you see at the top, right, where it says name, that is name of the job. Right now, Naveen is just mentioning sample for this presentation, but it would be, Naveen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the
Yeah,
convention that we are following is NHPRI and then your fire resource name, right?
yeah,
NHPRI
and
underscore, let's say organization.
yes, correct, correct.
Yeah. So Lok, if you're doing
I
the case
saw in
network.
some of the
Mhm.
tables, table creation and jobs, because some of them are giving NHPR underscore FHR underscore something. Like we need to follow one standard. And right now we are following NHPR underscore that resource name.
Okay, perfect. So can everyone please adhere to that convention? The glue job naming convention would be the same. It would be NHPRI underscore your fire resource name. So Lok, it would be NHPRI underscore network. And similarly, NHPR underscore location and NHPR underscore practitioner and so on in the first field at the top. Are there any questions, concerns about that part? Are we clear about the convention?
Uh, should it be caps or small? That doesn't matter.
Small, small. It should be
All
small.
Okay.
should be lower. Yeah, lower.
Oh,
Yeah. IAM role, if you see the next field is where you are able to select it from the drop down to say that we have to select the glue service role. Then the type one, you should select Spark as you see on the screen. As soon as you do it, you would see this glue version auto populated anyways. Just make sure you see Spark 2.4 Python 3, the way that it shows up here. Then you would see the next one where it auto checks the box of a proposed script generated by AWS Glue. This job runs a proposed script generated by AWS Glue. And then you would see all the below ones where it talks about S3 path where the script is stored. If you click on the folder, please, and Naveen will just quickly show them. So there was a folder for Glue scripts, if you may see it here. NHPRI CMS data, this is the parent S3 bucket. And over here, you would see a subfolder for Glue scripts. Yeah, this one. This is where you would provide the path for your glue script. Correct. And then the next one will cover here itself, Naveen. The next text box which you see is about the temporary working directory. So if you would hit the folder button again quickly, it would take us to the same NHPRI CMS data S3 bucket, and it would take us to the same glue directory. Over
Yeah,
here, Naveen, we have two here, right? One is
yeah.
working directory, one is temporary.
Nitya created this working directory. I don't know about that because temporary directory is not there. I created that. After
Okay.
that, Nitya said that it is a glue working directory. So
Okay.
I
So
will
we'll use
remove
the
this.
working directory.
Yeah, I will
Perfect.
remove this.
Right.
Will remove.
Okay. So we'll use the glue working directory over here. And that was pretty much it, right? I don't think we enabled anything else. Under monitoring options, if you go once, I think there we just wanted to make sure continuous logging. Yeah, continuous logging should not be checked. Over here, you see job metrics, Spark UI, continuous logging. Just make sure you do not check continuous logging because that would mean that it would create a log for literally everything. And by the end of the job run, you'll have like hundreds of log files. Instead, we just want one log file per run so that we're able to see what went on. So, Naveen, is it recommended for them to, while on this page, they should be able to check the job metrics and Spark UI, these two checkboxes?
Yeah, Spark
Yeah.
UI, since it will record the historical logs. For that, we have created one
Yep.
path for
Yep.
storing those historical logs.
Yeah.
Mm, this is the
Here we'll
audit
go
log.
to audit. Yeah. Audit and then Spark history log, right? The last one.
Spark history logs. It
Yeah.
will. We need to give this path. Okay.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it, I believe, on this screen, Naveen. I think so. Uh,
Yeah, we have the this is the main thing, security configuration, but it will be useful for you when you go in depth, like not these basic jobs, but right now we are creating, right? Suppose Python library path. what we need to do is like since we need the FHR for validation, we need this FHR. Okay. Mm, FHR, no, all the glue scripts like
There
for
was a
the
folder for
path,
glue libraries.
yeah, glue
Right.
libraries, yeah, correct. All these libraries, like so tomorrow if you write one library, Python library, we will keep here these library, because if any function or method that is reusable, no need to write in every job, right? If we call these, then it will be fine. Like this we need to, if Python libraries we need to take. Okay, this is the referential file path. Yesterday I already said what is referential file path. We need to give the config files.
Yeah,
And
reference file path, guys, just to make sure you recall from yesterday's session, it is more about, let's say, if you do any, if you have any configuration files which are used by the job. So yesterday Naveen mentioned about a .ini file as a sample. So by the time you are mature enough to do coding in a parameterized and a configuration file way, then the path of that ini file would be selected as part of this right
yeah,
here.
we need to keep the configuration file like this, because if there is any change tomorrow in the job, like if you tomorrow if you need any cleansing activity on any extra column, no need to go to the job and do it. If we have this config file, all these will be set here, like what are the changes, then we need to change this path, this file, config file. Okay.
Yep, and the convention would be nhpri underscore your resource name underscore config dot ini. That's the convention we'll follow across the board. Okay, cool. Thanks, Naveen.
Yeah, here worker types, don't go for G2X like that. Go for standard only, because if you are going for G1X, G12X, it will be like they will charge more. We will have number of worker nodes, we can have the number of worker nodes more. So
Yeah, but
uh,
considering the data volume and all that we are going to have, right? We'll keep the worker
yeah,
type
yeah.
as
If
standard.
the job is running for 2 hours, 3 hours like that, if we have a terabytes of data, then we can go for these thing. But if
Correct.
we go for this thing, it will be charged, because the worker node, this configuration is very high. Okay.
Yep. So we'll keep worker type as standard. We'll keep number
Yeah.
of workers to like 2 to start off with. Right. And anything else that needs to be configured on this screen?
Yeah. Concurrently, like how many runs it should be, and job timeout means if the job is running for more than so 1 hour like that, we can set the timeout. And here the job parameter, like based on this job parameter, like if it is an organization, then organization config file will pick up, and all those attributes which are there in the config will apply to this job. Okay.
So this is where I had one question. Overall, we are going to try to create reusability, right, across all these jobs. So let's say if we are trying to do, for example, data cleansing and all, right?
Yeah.
So for our organization resource, we may have to do cleansing on or validation formats on different fields, while the same thing may be on or different fields if we are talking about, let's say, the practitioner resource. I'm just trying to understand, typically in a usual situation where you are showing the key and value, right? What would happen is you would have like one, let's say, cleansing job, only one glue job is cleansing. And you would be able to say from a config point of view that if, let's say, the resource is the key, then the value is organization. Similarly, if resource is the key, value is practitioner, and so on, and call the same job again and again for each of the fire resources. Correct, Naveen? That's
Yeah,
what we're trying.
like it is making, first we are trying to make it as a generic,
Hmm.
like instead of custom to every resource, if we made one ready-made, but ready-made piece is not suitable for everyone. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow we need to do some changes, but if we have that ready-made like generic piece, what is the advantage means we no need to change every job if there is any small change. Okay, like if there is any, if we have created 5 resources, like or 5 or 6 resources, like if tomorrow if there is any change which is common across all the jobs, like tomorrow they will come and ask the logging should not be like this. The logging should include all these things. Then instead of changing all these 6 job, if we change these only single job, but it is like ideal thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
right now, every developer is going to create their own Glue Studio job for their own
yes,
file.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if
Yeah.
we implement this, then it will be fine. But as
Yeah.
for your purpose, you will create one job. Then if you,
Yeah.
like tomorrow or next sprint, if we want to customize and refinement, then if it is possible, we will create one job and pass these parameters. Okay.
Correct. So this would be like the final state before production kind of a thing, right? That by the time we reach that point, ideally we would want to be in a situation where we would have one reusable job called out by the configuration file with the parameters, so that one job itself can be called multiple times for each file resource. But for now, we are far away from that. For now, the expectation is everyone would create their own jobs. And this is just something that you're sharing for knowledge purposes. I just want to make sure everyone is clear about it. Anush, Lok, Ram, again asking you guys, you being the critical participants of the development work, you are clear with this part, right?
Yes, Archit.
Lok and Ram, not hearing a lot from you. Are you clear? Because if you are not clear, then I don't know what different we can do other than having this detailed walkthrough. So please speak up.
Yes, Ajit, I'm fine. Even I have a recording of this already. I think he is done on this glue job. So it's fine, I think.
Okay, we'll move forward then. Lok, you're okay until now?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
Then if you are going to the next
Archit, we have
screen.
yeah,
Yes, Tony.
guys, we have a daily sync meeting in 5 minutes. So
Yeah, Tony, this team will continue here so that they can finish
okay,
it up. Otherwise, they will be stopped on
okay,
Monday. Yeah.
yeah, all right, then I'll go to daily sync. Okay,
Sure, sir. Okay,
thanks.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Arvind, feel
Yeah.
free to
Same.
drop
Yeah,
yourself.
same thing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, if we go to this screen, then it will shows the table here, like what you are created, the tables manually and all those things. Another thing, while creating the table, you give these database NHPR fetcher, like this is the database created by Nitya, I think, asked us to create. Give this database. We have other databases like Glue database. These are created initially. Don't use this. We need to click these. Um, we need to click these table what we got created. Okay,
So
like
just hold on here to clarify, Naveen, for everyone's awareness, when they click choose data source, they're going to see a lot of options here. But this is where they need to select their own data source that they created as part of the Glue crawler, correct? That is what they need to pick, right? As a source
yes,
here.
you are manually creating the tables, right?
Correct.
Like I can I'm showing duplicate.
Yeah. And don't mind me asking some of these questions because I'm asking on behalf of some of the other people who are not even
Yeah,
asking
sure,
those questions.
because this is the
I know
final.
about this, but I
This
am
is
wanting to make sure this captures literally everything.
yeah, like team is saying that say once we will record it and we don't ask you again. So I am thinking that it will be a final session. So
Yeah,
every
I'm.
question what you are asking, I
Yes,
will
yes, yes.
patiently because
No,
I don't
thank
have
you.
that much
I'll
patience. Yeah, I will. But in this session, I will patiently tell. Okay,
thank you,
like
Naveen.
here, if you see the tables.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like
correct.
network, those who created the network,
Yeah,
don't use the FHR underscore R4 like these conventions. We have the standard convention. Like if it is a table, NHPR underscore network. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm using the
Uh,
network.
yeah. Lok, you are clear with this part? The
See the
adjustment
table
that needs to be done
creation
to the
name,
name.
right?
Yeah,
So I have followed, last time Nitya mentioned, right? As a database mentioned, NHPRI, FHIRDB, R4DB. So same thing I have followed for my
But for
table.
tables,
Yeah.
database, it is fine. Nitya, what you said is correct. But tables don't use that FHR. Okay.
That I
yeah.
was
We
unaware.
we have the jobs and tables and crawlers. Are following one naming convention like NHPR underscore something like the resource. Okay, if we want to change it, then we will change by consulting with Nitya, because understand, right?
So look, the NHPRI Fire R4DB is the database, right? But from a table point of view, what Naveen is saying is we'll keep it to NHPRI underscore the resource name. The
Yeah,
Fire
we can
R4
modify
naming
that.
convention is for the database. Yeah. So if
Yeah,
you can
that is
rename this.
modifiable, Archit. That is editable. We can edit it later.
Yeah, I know it's editable. And my point is that everyone should know that this is the expectation. A table name should be the same convention that we discussed. So Ram, if you're creating practitioner, it should be NHPRI underscore practitioner. That's it. No NHPRI
Yeah,
hyphen
this
practitioner.
information, Archit, was not passed out to us. That's what I was not aware of. I created based on the database naming convention was passed by Nitya before.
Yeah, right now we are talking about this meeting, and what we are discussing in this meeting is the convention we are going to follow. Whatever was the assumption, we just hit shift delete on that. And right now we are talking about conventions here in this meeting, and all of us need to make sure that we follow the conventions that we are seeing on the screen. So, Ram, what I was saying is from a practitioner resource point of view as well, when you see the name for a source, it says NHPRI dash practitioner dash resource. So, if this is the manual table that you had created, please rename it to NHPRI underscore practitioner. Same applies to everyone, including me.
Only NHPRI underscore practitioner. Not
Yeah, NHPRI underscore resource name. Yeah, that's what Naveen is mentioning was the discussion as part of the naming convention to start off with. Database
Because
name which you see would be NHPR underscore fire underscore R4 underscore DB. Yeah, Naveen, go ahead.
previously, like Nitya, I think Nitya created, right?
no, this one only. I have only created. Second one, right?
Yeah, second one. He first he tried to do that that hyphen, but don't put that hyphen. We are using the underscore here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
So here
selecting
in
this.
this screen, we'll select whatever table we have created here, and that is yeah. If you select network one, Naveen.
Yeah,
One.
this database, it will reflect in the Athena. If you want to see this table, you can see that we have all these databases in the Athena. Here the location, like the file where that particular thing is there. Okay. I'm clicking this network. Okay. Next. Here, click on the next. We are here, choose the target, data target. Since our target is the CSV file, like what our target from this CSV file, we are creating this Parquet file. Why I am choosing this target means just to understand you what like the thing it will shows. Here it will map like this. Okay. Here we will get if you for your target is different, just for your purpose I am showing this. If your target is different, you can have the different columns here and you can map. Okay, you understand, right?
I'm clear. Does anyone have any questions on this? Please
Okay,
ask.
in the target I don't require this. You can delete that.
Are you guys clear with what he's showing in the mapping over here, like mapping from source to target column?
Yeah,
I'm
he's
clear.
telling
Any
like if
questions?
something is not needed in the target column, we can delete it. Is it?
Yeah, our target is Parquet file, but here that Parquet is not supported. If I didn't work with that Parquet, but if it is a CSV, our target is CSV. Like from the source, we are getting 10 fields, but in the target we have only 5 fields, and we want to map it in a different way. We have these options here. Okay, but we need to define the
Naveen,
target.
just to be clear, source is the table what we created, right? Manually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Left
Target
hand
is the
side
one
is the
CSV
table that
file
was
which we are
created.
trying to map
Target
it to.
here I selected something because I don't have any target. If I go back here in the same way how you created the source, if you have the target as well with only 5 or 6 fields. Suppose in the source I have 10 fields, but in the target I have 6 fields. Like how you created the manual table, like in this way, the same way if you created the target as well.
So based on this target table which would be created, when Naveen hits next, there
Yeah,
would
we
be a
don't have the
mapping done
target table.
between.
We don't
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
here.
I know,
Yeah,
I know,
because they
I
are
know.
getting confusing. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
just like the manual table which is created for the source, there would be a table available for target that needs to be created. And when Naveen hit next, when we saw that source to target mapping, right? The arrows show, okay, this field from source is going to this field in target, just like any other ETL mapping. And if there is a need to delete, let's say from source you were getting, as Naveen was saying, you are getting, for example, 50 columns, but you don't need 5 of them. You should be able to delete those. And let's say you are trying to add 2 or 3 like basic fields in the target itself, which are not even coming from source. Where let's say somebody tells you hard code or default the currency to USD, right? So you don't even want to make sure that you have it from the source itself, but you may be able to simply add it in the target. So on that screen, there was a button for add column also, and you would be able to use that column even though it did not come from the source. That was just the normal source to target mapping screen that you would see, like not just here but in any other ETL framework.
But
uh,
here, if it will be very useful, like if we have the source and target as the same number of columns, and if there is
yeah,
like 2 to 3 different, but here our thing is we are creating the CSV file, and the target here is our thing is Parquet file. I didn't check that whether we can use this functionality or not, but why I have selected this means just to show you. Here if it is like this, it is a direct one-to-one mapping, you understand, right? Here in the process we are doing just one-to-one mapping,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, but yeah, here after this go and save job and edit script. Okay, here it
So
will give the
folks, are
script.
you clear? Lok, Ram, Anush, you guys are clear with the previous screen that we had about mapping, or are there any questions before we look at this script that Glue automatically generated? You understand what was done on the mapping screen, the previous one? Right now he just showed it as a sample, but typically in an ideal case, now when you're working on the story, when it is asking you to create a target or select a target, you should already have a table as a target for this particular job, and based on the steps that Nitya had documented, that needs to be in a Parquet format. So that evaluation Naveen has not done yet about Parquet. So that is something that we all will be able to learn together based on hit and trial that we would see in Parquet. So just like how you created a manual table in Glue, you should be able to map all that from the source to the target in a Parquet format. But that is not something that Naveen already had ready-made available, because in Sprint 1 he did not had it in Parquet format. He also has to do it himself. But wanted to make sure that you got that, and there's nothing that's going to be missed on that part. Is that clear? Anush, Lok, Ram,
Yeah,
from your
good,
side?
Achit. I'm good.
Yeah, why we are going
Yeah,
for Parquet format means because it is a columnar storage, and when we access that Parquet format, it is a we can access with much speed. That's a main
Yeah.
advantage. Like we have that
And
Parquet format.
even compression,
Yeah,
Parquet
compression.
format, yeah, is highly compressed. So from a memory space perspective also, right, Parquet format allows us to keep the data stacked in very less storage. That is also one of the main reasons, along with speed of retrieval from Parquet format.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll move.
why we have that compressed feature means because it will store the same data type in one bucket or one region, like what we can say that block in one block. So we have that
Correct.
memory
Yeah.
compression. Yeah, that's why he said to create that Parquet file. Yeah. Here, since we used that at initial, if you remember, we have in the radio button we have clicked that auto generate script, right? This is the auto generate script. Here, these are the Glue utilities, Glue AWS Glue utilities. It will automatically create it. When we are going for this manual creation, we need to have this Python file. Like we need to download this Python file by pip install AWS Glue. We will get that, and we will import these all these things. But since it is a automatic generation, it came like here. If you can see the database, what it is there, and the table name what you have given, and this data source, all these will come automatically. Okay, this is called as dynamic frame. Dynamic frame is exclusively to AWS Glue. We have data frame that is related to Spark. Okay, you understand, right? Mm, like
Are
these
there
are
any questions from anyone on this part? Guys, any questions from
No,
anybody?
no, no.
like Anush and Loknath, if you are aware of Spark, I will skip some of the things. If you don't know the thing, like let me know. I will go in detail because it will be helpful. And Ramal as well.
Yeah, Navin, please. I'm not aware of Spark actually.
Yeah, let's touch base at a high level. Naveen, if there would be more questions, we'll try to address it separately. But yeah,
Yeah,
while we
hi.
are doing this, right, let's do it in like one shot so that you don't have to repeat it multiple
In detail, you want me to go ahead, Archit?
times. If it's something you believe you can do without going into a lot of detail, and then people can try to read
Okay, okay. I
themselves.
will go like what are the things there is. I will go. I will explain all those things. But yeah, now if you have anything, let me know. Like this is the Spark object. Like the Spark object is like it is the initial phase. Like it will be act as a driver for us to run anything. If we have in the C, it is a class something, right? We will create one object. From that we will create from the main statement. It will create like that object. It will act as here. This is called Spark context object. And here we will have the glue context object. Glue context is a wrapper on top of that Spark object. Like this glue context will provide these extra features, like whatever the Spark is providing on top of that, it will provide that extra features. Like what I am saying is dynamic frame, apply mapping. All these things are glue related things. These are exclusive to glue. Okay, we without glue context also we can do these mapping, but when we are using these glue features, it will be much faster. Okay.
Yeah,
I will open yeah, these are the things here. After this apply mapping, here apply mapping means if we want to do anything like here we did one-to-one mapping right there while selecting. So my source is this column and the data type is this and the target is this and the same target. If you want to have the target name change, you can change the target name here. But in the glue, like in the visual, we have selected one-to-one, right? So the source is same and target is same. You got it right?
yeah. But even though we selected one-to-one in the previous screen, over here we can still make updates over here,
Yeah,
right?
we
Yeah,
can change anything here. Like
yeah.
if you come here and change it to
Yeah. And
org, then
similarly, the
it's
data
fine.
type also we can change right after that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Here after that, select fields. Like if you don't want to select all the fields in the target, only you
Mm.
require 3 or 4 fields. Then you can delete these fields, and whatever you required, only those fields you can keep it. Okay.
Yeah.
Naveen, rather than this, can you just explain your script, whatever you have written for the validation? I think if you explain that, that will be helpful.
Yeah, that also I will explain, but
Okay.
go one by one. That also I will explain. Like these are
Sure.
only after these three things, right? Okay, these are the select fields. Like if you want to drop any of the columns, you can drop. Okay. Here we have the resolve choice. Resolve choice means like if we want to, like if there is any column, like suppose take it as an email ID. We thought initially it will be like a email ID is not the correct one. Resolve choice means nothing but if you have any column, now we are thinking that it will be a string. Primary it will come as a string, and tomorrow it will come it as an integer. We will take secondary as an integer and primary as a string. If it is come as a integer, then it will take that type as an integer. That's the result choice. Okay. Don't bother about it much. And after that we are writing to the dynamic data frame, writing to that target path, like the table name and all those things we are writing to a folder. That's it here. And all at the last we are doing this job commit. Here it is like auto-generated script. If we want to do any validations, okay, we can do it by two ways, by using the Spark and by using the Spark SQL. I will show you one thing. Duplicate what I did. If you have any questions, let me know. Like in that screen, because I'm not going to back.
Yeah, just one general question. I know this session was recorded. Naveen, is that you who hit the record button, or was it Ram?
No, I didn't.
Ram, is that you who hit the record button?
Loknath.
Loknath,
I am
okay.
recording.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Yeah, any questions from anyone before Naveen proceeds?
Nothing from my side.
We're good.
Yeah, here what I did means, here I want to do the validations, right? Those validations I want to do. Here to perform those validations, I already said we can do it two ways, by using the Spark data frame or by using the Spark SQL. If you are going to use the Spark SQL, ultimately that Spark SQL will convert into that data frame. But because we are well versed with the SQL, right? So everyone knows about that SQL. So I use this SQL. Okay. Here for creating this SQL, what we need to do is we need to take this dynamic data frame. Here we have all these data, like it is act as a source, correct? Here after this is the data source 0, where we have the database, glue database and table name, and here from here we are getting the whatever the column is there, we are getting that. If you want to see those things, like for your understanding, I am showing this like if you show like if you view like this, it will be in a tabular format. Okay. If I run, it will take 3 to 4 minutes. That's why I'm not running. If you have any doubts, you can connect me later, or if you want to run it now, I can do it. Because here you are understanding, right? Here we are reading the source, the data what is there in the source.
Yeah. So, guys, please feel free to raise questions, because this data source part is like the primary step of the script, right? As you see, this is where the CSV file is being read. Can you scroll up a little bit again, Naveen? Let's go to that line. Line number 20. Ram, let me ask you here, is that something that you are okay with? If you see that here, this particular statement which you see in 20, right? It's looking at which database is glue database. What is the table? This is the table that was created as a source, like the manual table that is being created, right? So this is, for example, organization. You see this, and then it's a data source which is mentioned here. Like this is the first part where the source is being parsed as part of the script. Is this clear, Ram? Do you have any questions?
Okay, for your purpose, I will run that.
Ram, is this clear?
Here, like, yeah, I'm able to get like we are giving the databases name, table name, and others was, I think.
And
Yeah,
why do someone have to ask like 4 times, Ram? What's happening here? Do you think this session is going to have happen multiple times? This is the only time this is happening. Only question and answer should come out of this session.
yeah,
Okay.
whatever doubts you have, please.
Yeah, please ask here, because then it is very unpractical and unrealistic for us to expect even Naveen do these walkthrough sessions every day. He has his own stuff to work on, and if we have training gaps, we need to ramp up ourselves through other avenues. But here, if you see, this is a proper training session where in line number 20 we are saying that it's
No,
really reading the
like
source.
it is just reading the source file. In the simple
Correct,
terms,
just
we
reading
are
the
just
source.
reading the source files. Okay.
So
Here
Ram, what
after
did you want to see on this line? You were saying that you had one thing. What was that?
Last one is first one is like database, second one is the table name, and third one is the transaction CTX data source. What is this?
Yeah, transaction citrix means it is like if you are doing any transformation before that, we can keep it, or if you remove this argument, then there will be no problem. It will execute. Okay. Because whatever we are like in the data frame, if I am going in detail, like data frame, we cannot, it is an immutable. Okay. We cannot change it. Immutable means we cannot change it. If we want to read like how I can say, okay,
No. Like what I want to ask, like this is open. Can you please open that?
yeah,
So this is you are creating a data frame, right? By giving the database table name, and this is the column name, right? Or transport. What is this, like column name or
this is
trans
transformation like you are asking.
transformation? No, like
So
Transformation citrix, it is like here in the data in the Spark, if we have data frame df1, df2, df3,
okay.
df2 will depend on df1. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
df3 will depend on df2, and all these three are immutable. That's what you
Correct.
remember. If you want to do this thing, you need to take this and apply somewhere. Okay. Here I am
yeah,
taking
in
this
other
right.
words, to make life simpler for you, Ram, right? When let's say when you are coding for yourself, in line number 20, this last parameter that you see, transformation underscore CTX equal to data source, you can keep it as is without any changes for your file resource. Okay, only parameters that are going to change, or only arguments that are going to change in line number 20 would be your table name. Your database would be glue database. Your table name would be NHPRI underscore practitioner.
Yeah, you no need to change anything because it
Correct.
is generated. But here I have created this data source 0. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to apply something. I need to use this data source 0 here. Okay, you got it. And here I have created another data frame apply mapping. If I want to do any changes on this, I need to use here.
Correct.
It's like a low level details if you are going for Spark. Okay.
So Ram, are you clear with line number 20? Let's talk about line number.
No. Line number 20, last thing I didn't get, like if we are creating a data frame by giving the databases and table names, so what is this, like
So if you
transformation with the
see on the leftmost side, line number 20, it says data source 0 equal to, and then you have the statement, right? Data source 0 is the frame name where you are capturing all this data as per this particular statement.
frame
And
name?
then, yeah, and then transformation underscore CTS is equal to that particular frame name that he has mentioned for now. What I'm saying is, when let's say you are coding for your own resource, right? Let's say you are trying to do this script for practitioner, only thing that you would need to change is, let's say if your frame name is different, for example in line
Okay,
number
you
20.
can put it as an organization.
Yeah,
And here you need to, because it is a automate generate script, right?
correct, and you
Then
can
came
mention
like
here
this.
organize. Yeah, it can be anything.
Oh,
So
The
whatever is this
initial
frame
frame
name,
what
right?
we are creating.
Whatever is the
Then
name of the frame needs to
okay,
go in that
okay,
last
just like
argument.
okay. So
then
okay,
you need to use this frame here, okay?
Correct. So in this line number
Organization.
25, right, what it's doing is it is using the output of line number 20. So if output of line number 20 is currently data source 0, but let's say you have it as practitioner, then in line number 25, if you see, it's creating another frame called as apply mapping 1, where it is saying apply mapping 1 equal to apply mapping dot apply, and then it says frame equal to data source 0. So that is the output of your line number 20. So if you called it out as practitioner on your side, then you would say practitioner in line number 25, frame equal to practitioner. And then you will say all these mappings which are mentioned here. Clear, Ram?
yeah. So basically that is nothing but it's a data frame name, and that we are using in the
Correct.
20.
And this will happen like in a breakdown approach. Similarly, if you see line number 30, right? Naveen has mentioned organization data frame equal to apply mapping dot to df, and you would see apply mapping 1 is the one which is declared as part of line number 25. So it's like you calculate one
Got it.
intermediate and then you use it in the next one and you use
Yeah.
it in the next one. Okay.
Okay. So what is happening in 25 line? We are giving the column name type, ID string.
Naveen, can you scroll right so that he sees everything?
Right.
In
Um,
mappings, like you have mentioned, like these data type, right? ID strings,
yeah,
ID
he's
strings.
asking about
Okay,
line
common,
number
like,
25.
Like it is apply mapping, like it is one-to-one mapping, right? The source and target mapping here. If you don't want to this apply mapping, like you can comment this, okay, and
So
take this
what happens
direct.
is, let me explain this. Ram, what happens is on the previous screen in Glue, right? You saw a list of source columns, you saw a list of target columns, and those were mapped together, right? There were arrows in between to say this
yes,
goes
yes.
there. So Glue automatically creates the script. So this mapping that was done, right? It is
Okay,
creating the backend script for that mapping. That's all. There is no
okay,
customization which is done on this
fine,
script. It's
fine,
just
fine.
saying apply a mapping this column to this column. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So like once glue job B creates, then it creates a script, and that script we need to modify,
Correct. Correct.
like
Glue will
to the.
create an automated script that you see on the screen, and we have the ability to customize it as per our need. Okay.
Yeah, if you are capable and you don't require glue help, then there is an option. I don't require help. Create the new script. Then the page will be blank. Okay, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
write
yeah.
your own script.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. At the starting, you have three options, right? If you want
Hmm.
glue script, click that. If you don't want, if you need that, then click another button. Okay, here after this this is why I am doing apply mapping means it is a dynamic data frame. Here I am from dynamic data frame I am converting to the normal data frame. Okay, after converting to the, you can check what is dynamic data frame and normal data frame by googling it, because if I will elaborate then it will be long. After this I am creating normal data frame. Here after creating the normal data frame, I am creating the patient organization or patient, whatever table here.
Whatever
Based
is
on
the
this,
resource name is what will
yeah,
mention
resource.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, now it will be like a database table with columns and header. Okay, now whatever queries you can write in the SQL, you can write here. Now it will be like a database table. Now what I am doing means I am checking whether it is a null or not, and those type of validations, whether it is empty or not, and length is greater than or the length. If it is length is 0, I am giving something like this -100 for each validation like this. If for length validation -300, for null validation -500, -200 like this. And uh, after that if it is null, apart from this everything is null, like here for error records this number will be there, for non-error records it will be null. Here I am filtering those error records, and I will display those error records. I will save those error records in one place and non-error records in another place. Like these non-error records I will create the parquet file here. Okay, for error records we will confirm whether these are the valid records or not. We can store that in another place.
Yeah. Just
You
stop
got.
here, Naveen. So, folks, you would see, right, line number 43, 44, where it clearly says what is passed and failed. Where you say validation passed, it means error code is null. There is no error code. And when it's a failed, error code is not null. Which means there is an error code associated based on the logic which is written in the Spark SQL, line number 37 onwards. It's
So,
assigning this,
okay.
then do this, and so on.
So
It's clear,
30.
right?
Okay, I have one question. 37 line. Once this glue script is created automatically, so what was that earlier and what you have changed? Naveen, can you please
Yeah,
just.
from this line this is my custom script. Okay, from this line to this line, what I
Oh,
am
Yeah,
doing.
you would see only until apply mapping, Ram, because you saw on the previous screen, the only step we did was we mapped from source to target, correct? So
okay,
where
okay.
you see that apply mapping is where the automated script would end, and then whatever you see at the bottom is the validation rule that Naveen is trying to implement here. Now, when we
Oh,
are saying that if ID is null or not, then do this error code number -500 and so on. All of this is the custom code that he has written. Similarly, it has to be written for all fire resources when we are coding it ourselves.
See
okay.
here, I am commenting all these lines, like whatever the automatic script given. I am commenting all these lines. I am like I have given some comment, like custom code, ended custom code, started custom code, like that. I didn't put that start custom code, but here I put that ended custom code. Like this is our code. You can write anything because this is simple SQL, right? You need to show your SQL skills here for validations. There is
Yep.
nothing Spark or
Correct.
AWS involved here. Okay.
Yeah. Ram, are you good with line numbers? All these, like this custom field after the mapping?
Yeah. So like how did you know this, like that we have to apply these check on this, like Naveen?
No, this
Like,
is where we are talking about the cleansing job, right? So right now we don't have the data mapping which tells us exactly what validations we have to do, but we are doing it based on our own understanding. That is what Naveen also mentioned in the beginning of this meeting, that if you have some columns in your spreadsheet or in your table which are identifier columns, so you will never want any of your IDs to be null, right? Like you have your own
correct,
employee
correct.
ID. Employee ID
Yeah,
cannot be null, right? So things
correct.
like these. And
So
when he
yeah,
knows that NPI, let's say if it's an NPI field, it's a provider identifier. It cannot be more than 10 or less than whatever number. Then things
correct,
like these
correct.
we can mention. All
You
those we
understand
have to, based on our understanding, we have to incorporate. Yeah, go
Mhm.
ahead, Naveen.
here. You understand, right? Code one like greater than one means if the count is greater than one. If ID, if we got repeated ID, because I think it is an primary key. If we got repeated ID, then that record is not valid. I am putting that it is a duplicate check. Okay. It is a length check. Another thing is, and another thing is null check. Like that, this is the sample I have written. You can return based on your resource. Okay.
Okay.
After that, at the last, I am passing it to the here it should be a Parquet, but I put it as CSV and putting in the refined, not processed. In the process, whatever raw data is there, we need to put in the process. It should be in the refined after cleansing. Okay.
So where is the path that you have given us? Three paths, like where is the directory?
In the same directory only, it will be there. Like
In right.
whatever the here, if you see here, NHPR CMS data, right?
Yeah, processed
In,
inside processed. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
All
Yeah,
right.
refined, processed,
this would be
FHR,
refined,
all.
Ram. It won't be processed. You have to use the word refined here.
Refined
Path would
here.
be same. Yeah,
Okay.
because the output of this job is going to go to the refined bucket.
Okay.
Yeah, after going to the refined bucket, there we are doing the transformations. I will open that.
Anush, Lok, you guys are good until now?
Yes, Archit.
I'm good. Chief.
We are almost at the end of the overview that I was asking, because now we are going to look at the next one, which is like the last translation.
So, Archit, what sense I'm getting, right? So, looks like, even earlier I went ahead with, some of the glue training. And as Nitya mentioning, to refer Navin script and all. So I think will be good. We will be not doesn't have any dependency with Navin or something. I think we can take it ahead.
Yeah. Naveen would
Yeah,
be here to help with clarifications, but it's just that, these kind of detailed overviews, it would be impossible for him to provide going forward. That's the only expectation. Now you can use this recording and the other YouTube videos and all for learning. Same I'll do myself as well, and we'll come back to Naveen with questions so that we only talk about clarification. Yeah, go ahead, Naveen. Go ahead.
yeah. If there is no dependency from tomorrow, like I will be free. You don't complain on me, right?
No, you are not
I am
going to
very
Goa for
happy
a
that you are
holiday.
not
No.
complaining. Yeah,
Naveen, you are not
because
going to Goa.
Lok, if Lok got everything, then from tomorrow he don't complain. That Navin is
No.
saying that. Yeah, okay.
No,
Like
I'm getting positive vibe actually, Navin. So we can do that. So thanks for your help. So this one we were looking for before, Navin. Thank you
yeah,
for
like
it.
if I say this also, you can't grasp all these things. Like you need to check the recording, and for every like if there may be many issues. Like so, yesterday, what we are struggling means to inculcate these. Like these are the FHR resource. Here we are doing these validations. Earlier I said right. If you go to the edit job, uh, advanced properties.
Naveen, this is where, we as a team we need to work together, right? See, you would have faced some issue, okay, while you're doing some work, and you found out a solution. So it is good to share those kinds of information so that the team need not struggle on the same point, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
this is
If
how we
they
can speed up. Okay, otherwise they will also spend the same amount of time exploring the solution for the same problem that you faced, right?
no,
So
no, no.
that
Like
is
if
where
they
we
come
all
to that,
have to kind of work
if
together.
I already said, Nitya, like if they come to that point, we are there to help because they are in the initial phase and they are asking about the end point. Then it's very difficult. Okay, if you are moving from Andhra to Bangalore, in the middle Hyderabad will come. But if there are some hurdles there, we will let you know once we come to the Hyderabad. If you are still in Andhra,
That's a good example,
I
Naveen.
already said like they are in still in the ABC. If they want XYZ, how we can give that? I already said because if I said this also tomorrow, definitely they will come to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, next time when you give the example, Naveen, please include New Delhi because otherwise I'll feel offended. Okay, going forward, just somehow include New Delhi. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. Here that FHR, right? Here it will be useful. We need to store this FHR zip and whatever the Python files like. Here we here we are creating the JSON. The JSON should be in an here I put these in the sample, but row by row, you know the for loop, right? In that for loop, we need to reiterate each row and check these whether this organization is valid or not. Here in this refinement we are doing. These are all the things what I am doing, like logging these things. Like we have the log path where we are logging, and here I am using this organization config file what I created. This organization config file will contain all the details of that particular organization. Like instead of giving the where is the target path, base path, and all those things, like for organization and all those things, like it contains all the parameters, those things. And here it will be the logging part I am doing, like job got successful or failure, those type of things I am doing. And here the basic thing what we need to means, since we don't have the transformation and the association with different resorts, those things we need to do here. Okay. After doing those things and validation, like FHR validation, after these got completed, then we will have a JSON file in the FHR folder. Like here there will be a workflow
Yeah,
where
one thing, Naveen, if you are okay, can you go back to the previous job, like the script that you were showing? Let's just clarify one thing with the team. So this second job, right, that you were showing, the idea is this is where the FHIR binding would happen, right? Whatever data we haven't refined, we will be using that as a source, data source for this particular script, and we would be binding it with the fire metadata, the FHIR metadata. Correct, Naveen? Right?
yeah, correct.
So once all this binding is done as part of the script, the data would be moved to the S3 bucket, which is called as the FHIR bucket, the fire bucket. The output would be in that particular bucket. So firstly, if you can stay on this screen, I wanted to ask you as part of the sprint one POC that you did, Naveen. So for this job, what is the customization that you did? Like, did you do any customization or did you just leave it as a placeholder?
Like whatever I have said from last 1.5 hour, I want to let the team know. Now we have the file in the uh, now we have the file in the refined bucket. After refined, we are moving that into FHR. Do we need to create this table, or can we go ahead without this statement? Is it applicable or don't applicable here?
That's a question to everyone.
This is the NHPRI organized refined job. We have data in the refined bucket right now.
Yeah.
No-
So in line number 85, if we focus on line number 85, right? I think Naveen, what you're asking is in line number 85 over here. Uh, is this correct primarily, right? Because we are right now talking about refined to fire bucket. Naveen, is that what you're asking? Just want to
Yes, correct,
clarify.
correct, correct.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
applicable or we can skip this?
yeah. Anush, Lok, Ram, I know the answer. I want to hear from you. If you look at line number 85, right, similar to line number 20 that we discussed in detail of the previous job, here it's reading the data source. But this job is about reading data from the refined bucket and moving to the fire bucket. So if you read this statement and look at the table name and the other arguments which are here in line number 85, is it making sense? Is there something which is inaccurate? What are your thoughts on line number 85 is what Naveen is trying to check so that accordingly he can make adjustment to the overview.
So line number like 85, you're talking about like again same. It's like similar to 25, where like now we are trying to move the file into FHIR, right? Folder from refined. So
Yeah,
we are
my
giving the databases again same and organization CSV. That CSV like output of refined, right? Uh, am I right?
yes or no. My answer should be yes or no. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to explain.
yeah. I am
Yeah,
fine.
no, you are fine.
Yeah,
It's
yes, I understood. Like it is like similar to 25. So it's just here we are moving file from refined to FHIR folder.
no, no. Like my question is, this is reading the file from the Glue database and NHPR organization CSV file where we created in the landing zone. Okay,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
from the
manual
landing,
table primarily. Yeah, the source. Yeah,
yeah. Now we are talking about the refined job.
correct.
Is it
Anush, look, did you understand the question? Do you know what Naveen is asking?
I didn't understand the question actually.
So the
I
question is, this is
I
this is
guess he is
the
trying to import the data which is present in the
no.
landing
The
zone.
question, yeah, let me rephrase. The previous job that he showed was the
Yeah,
one which is for pulling the data from landing, like the actual
yeah,
raw
got it.
source that we are creating, and pushing it to the refined bucket. Right?
Mhm.
That was job one. This is
Got it.
job two, where we are expected to read the data from the refined bucket
Yeah,
and move the result or the output to the
to
FHIR bucket
FHIR
at the
bucket.
end. So what is question is now considering this context of job 2 that where we are supposed to read from refined bucket and push the output to the FHIR bucket, is a line number 85 relevant and accurate, or do you think that there is something missing? Do you think or you have any thoughts about line number 85 if you read
I
all the arguments?
I think he needs to pull the data which is present in the uh, refined bucket, not refined. What is
yes,
this?
correct, correct. That is the
Refined
That
answer
is
bucket.
what I
correct.
am
Yeah,
expecting.
that
Yeah.
is the answer. So if you, Ram, if you look at line number 85, right, you were saying that this is same, this is same, this is same. That is where it's a problem because the previous job was reading from the CSV file and output to refined. If this job has to read from the refined bucket, then this table name over here in this line number 85 as a data source cannot have that CSV, right? Instead, it has to be the refined bucket as the data source. Are you clear?
Like, yeah, if you one of them are able to cop up, like you can share your information why it is why it should pick up from refined, so that others who are not understanding, then they can understand. Okay, here what Anush said is correct because we don't need to read again from the source. Then our source is now refined. We need to take the data from refined, and it should be like spark.read from that folder. It is not applicable here. Just for my purpose, I have did it. Okay, then here after that, like it is still in the progress. We are doing some exception catch, those type of things, and it should be in the methods block. Okay, this is about that, like this job is about the transformation and association with other resources and binding with the FHR.
Yeah,
Uh,
Naveen, can we do one thing? Next week, once, let's say Monday, if you are able to do it, right? Can you try to like do some finishing touches on polishing on this job number 2? Then just let the team know that you are done. What they can do is they can go to glue themselves to this job review this code and come back to you with questions for this
Yeah,
particular
like that's what I want to do. But from yesterday, I'm trying to run this, but here that FHR is not running. When we try to import that,
Mhm.
we are getting some technical error here. Yesterday, Nitya and I sat for 2 hours, but it didn't rectified. We are getting the same issue. Once it is rectified, then we are. I will do it finalize. Okay.
Yeah, at least you can leave it to the stage where you are having the error, so that at least the other team members are able to catch up and reach that point. That's what
The
I'm saying.
major thing is here that binding only, like fetcher binding only, checking that validation.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
don't have that transformation and the association. We are not confirmed, right? Yeah, that we are leaving right now. And
Okay.
after that, after that, what we need to do is here it is the workflow. Here in this workflow, what we are doing means here it is a on-demand workflow. Okay, on-demand workflow. First, we run this job where it will move the data from landing to processed and refined. We can do it in the both the ways. We can put the two jobs. In the process, it will be the raw file, and in the refined, it will be the cleansing. After this job successful, then we are going to run. This job will get trigger that refined to the FHR. Okay.
Yeah, this workflow feature, guys, is simply just to provide a sequence of execution of your job. Now you have created job one, job two, and other things, right? The idea is now when you look at a typical production scenario, how do your jobs run? What are the dependencies between these? Like the first one runs only, then the second one runs. All of this can be graphically developed as part of the workflow features that Naveen is showing over here.
Now for the development, we need to run on demand, like here run job. But if we move to the production, we have the Lambda job there. Once that file, after the extraction, the file got placed in the landing, automatically that Lambda will trigger this workflow.
Correct. Yep, we'll get there. For now, that's not something that you guys have to worry about for Sprint 2. But I think this covers the job overview. Naveen, did you have anything else that you were wanting to cover? I think you covered everything in detail based on my understanding.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
if team wants to know anything,
Yeah.
what they want,
Yeah,
then
we'll
I
quickly
can.
set the expectations around that. Firstly, Anush, Lok, Ram, or everyone from the team point of view, are there any questions before we just set some good expectations and be mature enough to, do some digging from our side as well? Are there any last questions before we just spend 2 minutes to set right expectations for next week?
I think they
Uh,
should be good enough for us to carry out the task as of now. Like task, at least whatever task
Yeah.
Naveen has achieved.
See,
Yeah.
all of us are learning, which means that we'll need some time to reach to this stage, and then we'll build
Yeah.
our knowledge on top of it to make it better. It's fine. The
True.
idea is to catch up to whatever Naveen just shared. Once you reach there, then we'll make improvements on top of that. And all of this applies to me also. So the same boat. Lok and Ram, you're good.
as of now, yeah, I'm good. I think once I'll do same thing, then it would be better. As of now, I'm good.
Yeah. So let's set some expectations. Lok, overall from your side, do you have any other questions before we get to the expectation part?
No, not yet.
Okay,
No,
so once this recording is available, right, the expectation would be you guys should be able to start off with the steps that Naveen mentioned at the beginning. That fire resources, Python files you have. Make sure that the glue table which is created, the data types comply, are like they are matching with the data types that you see in those py files, the Python files, so that we don't face any issues later on. Then, as far as job creation is concerned, leverage this recording to make sure that you're able to do your job. And on Glue, anyways, these jobs are already available. It is available for anyone's review. So whatever jobs for organization that the sample jobs that Naveen was showing, it is there. You can go and refer to those scripts and make adjustments on your side as needed. And if needed, hit play and pause on this multiple times, and try to come up with your jobs. Monday when we talk, right, at least in this meeting, what I'm hoping is, uh, either you guys should have already had a Q&A session, If not, we can use this meeting on Monday, but not to this extent. Right now, we have gone for almost 2 hours. This cannot happen every day. This is the only time that it's happening, just for having us kick-started. Prepare a Q&A and have those things clarified with Naveen and Nitya during the offshore time, and I'll try to get my answers as well accordingly, because I would have a few questions too. But now we have to get into a more productive question and answer mode instead of an overview mode, because this session has set the right foundation that we need to accomplish things for Sprint 2. Okay, so let's make sure we march towards it without any gaps. If there are any gaps before there is a concern raised about an overview, please review this recording, even if it's needed to be reviewed like 3-4 times. These are the expectations and ground rules going forward. Naming conventions have to be exactly the same as what we have discussed. Please do not use different naming conventions, as we would have problems with it. Okay, any comments from anybody before we close? Because I want to thank Naveen in the end. Anything else from anyone?
Krishna, I forgot to say that FHR binding I am saying right.
Yes, Naveen.
Like that is what Pakakelwa. Wow, Pakakel. That FHR binding, right? What I am saying, like that is what Nitya initially said to you. Like it is the FHR people already did some validation, like data validations, such type of thing. It is a simple job. Like if you want, I will show you again. Like right now, it is not working. If you include that in the testing part, then like 20% of your job will be over. Other 80% will be transformation and association, like that. I will show you how to bind that. Okay.
And Naveen, so I had one doubt. So coming to the Glue Studio, here also does it require for that IAM roles? We need to apply IAM role in AWS Glue. I mean, Glue Studio.
AWS Glue or Glue Studio, there is nothing better different. IAM role means for that role you will have some permissions, like whether you will have S3 access or Athena access or something. Like if you have that role, then you will able to access. Otherwise, you can't create that crawlers and all those things by pointing to S3 path. Okay.
Suppose,
Roles
for
and
example, if I want to create crawler, means by step it will ask like create job, and first we need to create crawler, then after that job transformation, everything.